Welcome to the Bite-Sized Security Podcast, your source for practical online security advice. Join me, my guests, and sometimes my trained AI voice as I explore ways to protect your digital footprint against the growing cyber threats. From mastering better passwords to understanding encryption and VPNs, the Bite-Sized Security Podcast breaks complex topics into clear guidance. It's time to take control of your online presence. You're listening to the Bite-Sized Security Podcast, unlocking solutions for your digital life. Let's get to it. So are you wondering, is the Google Cybersecurity certificate worth it? I started out with a career in IT, which gave me the foundation that I needed. And then I started studying for the CompTIA Security Plus certificate, which I found to be kind of hard. After that, I went straight to the CISSP, which I found to be very hard. And I really studied for that, but more on a schedule. So do you need this type of cybersecurity certificate? The problem is, if you're looking at Google or Microsoft or anything, and it's very specific, they're creating their own standards, they're creating their own certificates for those organizations, and that isn't as widely accepted. You're probably going to see a little bit of CompTIA. You're definitely going to see the ISC type stuff, especially the CISSP. And if you're going to spend your time doing that, I would suggest you study for those resources because they're going to give you the jargon and the knowledge that you need at least to be able to speak to recruiters and interviewers, even if you have no intention of ever taking the test. And as far as certificates go, are they necessary? Are they valid? I have not run across anybody who has definitively said, we need you to have this certificate. I've had that it's a nice to have, and I've had to mention it, and I've put it on my resume, of course, but it isn't something that's going to make or break you. There's so many other things to landing that information or cybersecurity job. So let's take a look at the website here. First of all, it's on Coursera, love Coursera, but it's going to cost you a 7-day free trial and then $49 a month. Now, maybe you'll finish this in 6 months, or maybe you'll finish it in 2 months, or maybe you'll start it and forget it and leave it going for a year. Worth paying that much for just a certificate. And especially if you're looking for just a base bit of knowledge, there's other places you can go, and I'm going to drop all that in the description for you. So if we keep going down here, there's cool stuff about how much money you could potentially make, going through the course material, getting on fast track with employers, and then showing you the employers, and then preparing for the CompTIA Security Plus exam. Well, why don't you just go prepare for that just right off the bat? And then if you look down a little bit further, you get some frequently asked questions, which is cool. It talks about this Google Cyber Certificate Employer Consortium. Interesting that it only says these companies span multiple sectors and are committed to considering Google Career Certificate graduates, considering for entry-level jobs. And then, of course, there's a place that you can go after completion where you can apply for opportunities from employers with open jobs. Or you could just do that for free on Indeed and LinkedIn and a billion other places where you can get jobs. So if you try to look at this consortium here, it's just finding skilled talent. So it's sort of like just a place for employers to go to look for people who have maybe this cert or just in general talent. Not something I'd really do. If you're going to spend the money, this is $31. Just go sign up for the Security Plus and start reading the book. Yeah, I know, a book. It is a place to start. You can do it anywhere without internet access. And it really will get you into that jargon and the learning. And you actually can study this book. And you actually can study and pass the test. And CompTIA does have a name behind it. Google has a name behind it, don't get me wrong. But this will have a name behind it that you're probably going to find on job applications or places that are looking to hire people. The other one I'd highly recommend is the ISC CISSP. Again, $54. It's huge, it's thick, it's going to cover all the domains. The Google certificate has 7 or 8 modules. This has everything that you're going to want. It's not going to be online, but it will cover everything for you, and you're going to get that jargon and the language that's super important. And lastly, if you go over to certmike.com, not being endorsed here, but I did use it, and he's got things for Security Plus and the CISSP, and of course there's going to be recommended resources. So shout out, if you already have LinkedIn Learning, there are courses that you can take for the CISSP and cybersecurity in general. And if you are part of any sort of a public library, like I am in the Bay Area, it's a little bit hidden and tricky, but you actually can get access to LinkedIn Learning without being a LinkedIn Premium member.
It's just a little weird to do it, but it's totally doable. And when you go down here, I did buy some of these guides, to be fair, they were helpful, but this is really the key, is signing up for that free study course, because he will take you step by step. You'll get an email on which chapter and which section you're supposed to review and read. So when you get this big, thick, huge manual that's really daunting, he's going to go through and take you what you need to read, and it kind of chunks it out so you have an actual study program and a guide and a way to get through this material that you normally wouldn't have otherwise. So is that Google Cybersecurity certificate worth it? Honestly, if you like learning and you just want to get certified and you just like taking stuff, I think there's a lot of value in that, right? I'm not against any type of education. But there are other resources that I've just mentioned that are going to be much cheaper for you. You're going to have a lot longer longevity for you, and they're going to be more widely adopted and accepted within the industry. And that's where I would spend my time. I would get CompTIA. I would try to get my CSSP. If I didn't get those, if I got CompTIA, and then you said, hey, I want to go take a Google Cyber certificate, go for it. Absolutely. But it is not going to make or break you, and employers are not actively necessarily looking for that. I could come up with my own curriculum, put up a really fancy website, and call it whatever cybersecurity certificate, and have people buy my stuff for my modules, and that would be meaningless as well in the industry that's not looking for that. So in my mind, no, it's not something I would pursue if I was looking to go into this industry, and I didn't. I went with CompTIA, and then I went my CSSP. And I did do the CertMic stuff because it really helped narrow down what I needed to learn and study and slowly read in this giant manual. And if you want LinkedIn Learning, check out if you can get that for free through your local library. So I'll put put as much as I can in the description. I think it's going to help you. And that's sort of my take on this. But again, caveat, I didn't buy it. I don't intend to go through just yet another certificate program. And if I was new to the industry, which I was when I started looking, I would go about it differently. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And if you don't like this video, please like and subscribe. Remember I told you there was a secret way? I kind of threw it out there like there was a way to do this through the library. Okay, it's a little convoluted, but whatever state you're in, if you have a public library card, go search for your public library within your state. Like I'm looking here for the San Francisco Public Library, and it's sort of buried in here. But if I looked up LinkedIn Learning SF Public Library or Los Angeles Public Library or New York Public Library, all the websites are going to be different. But if you notice down here, LinkedIn Learning. And if you type in this when prompted, and then you're going to put in your library ID and your PIN, because you're going to need a PIN for that card, you're going to get access to LinkedIn Learning, formerly Linda. It's completely different than your LinkedIn account. So if you're a premium member, well, you already have access to this. If you're a regular member like me, you don't have access to this, but you can get access to this if you go through and get a library card at the public library and then search online for that particular library and go this convoluted route. You absolutely positively can get some of this. So for LinkedIn Learning here, I actually can go in and get all the full courses and everything that I want through access to the public library. But again, it's going to be different depending on your state and where you are. You're going to need a card. You're going to need a PIN associated with that card. It's easy to do, but most people aren't going to do it. They're just going to pay for it, or they're going to go off and do some other certification and spend a lot more. But there's a lot of great stuff on LinkedIn Learning, and you can get access for free.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Bite Size Security, the quick-hitting podcast serving bite-sized tips to boost your online safety. We covered a lot of ground today and easy-to-digest nuggets of practical cybersecurity advice. If you want to learn more ways to protect your data and identity online, be sure to subscribe for future episodes. We'll continue breaking down complex security topics into straightforward guidance anyone can apply. Visit our website, bitesizesecurity.show, for recaps and show notes from all of our podcasts. We hope these bite-sized cyber lessons have given you new tools in your digital security toolbox. This is your host signing off until next time. Stay safe in the digital world. You've been listening to Bite Size Security.